time I'm gonna talk a little bit about how the BX came to life. In order to understand why this car is what it is, we need to go back to the 60s and see what Citroën had in their lineup. We had the 2CV at the bottom and we had the DS as the high-range model. Citroën had a big gap between the two cars because one was made for farmers and the other was made for people that had some money. And they tried to bridge that gap with the Amis based on the 2CV and with the ID, which was a DS stripped down of some of the goodies. But still there was a big gap for the medium-sized family car. And that's how back then they made plans for the GS. They already had experience with a flat twin engine air-cooled in the 2CV, and that's why this car was launched with a flat 4 engine, also air-cooled. They also wanted to have a rotary engine and they put a lot of time and money into that. But at some point they discovered it really wasn't that reliable of an engine, and when the car was launched they tried to buy all of them back. A couple of them survived, but they are very rare. So the cars were great, but the 70s were not really a good time for Citroën because they had to scrap the birotor engine on the GS, they had to buy them back. They had the SM, a car that was very thirsty and a car that they couldn't sell. They basically gambled their money away. At some point they were gonna file for bankruptcy, and that's how the PSA group came to life. In 74 I think Peugeot bought 38% of the shares, and that number increased to about 90%, 88, I'm not sure, in 76 when the PSA group was founded. The GS was a very comfortable car. It was like a baby DS in many aspects. I actually think it's more elegant than the DS. But it was seen as a complex car. It also had hydropneumatic suspension. It had inboard disc brakes, and that engine compartment made it a bit difficult for the home mechanic. Of course, Peugeot was very sensible with their own finances, and they wouldn't let Citroën go their wacky ways as they have done before. It would have to use the engines that were available, conventional 4-cylinder engines. Peugeot said that Citroën could keep their hydropneumatic suspension, although now they would have to share the platform with the Peugeot 405. So no more double wishbones at the front like the GS had, I think. Now let's talk about the design. In the late 70s, Marcello Gandini designed the car at Volvo's request. This concept was called Tundra, and the Tundra was a very square car. It's an origami design, let's put it this way. And it was maybe too bold for Volvo, so they politely said, no, we don't want this, we're not gonna do it. Obviously Citroën, being Citroën, thought, okay, we're gonna use it, why not? It's perfect. And this is how the straight lines that we know from the BX came to life. And since most of the lines of the Tundra have been retained, it still looked like something Citroën would do. On the inside there was still a lot of Citroën to it. We have this very Citroën steering wheel, we had the satellites for the lights and for the wiper blades, and we still had this drum roll speedo, which looks like a scale. The car was launched in '82. When the press finally got their hands on this car, they were impressed, obviously, because the car had great ride and handling. It was very practical, it was very spacious. This was a good compromise because now you have a Citroën with hydropneumatic suspension, Citroën styling, but it was a lot more practical. This was one of those cars that kept evolving throughout its life. When it was launched, there were two petrol engines, the 1.4 Tundra, the suitcase engine, and the new 1.6, and this 1.6 went on to be fitted on several cars from the group, well into the 2000s. As time went by, engines were replaced. The 1.4 suitcase engine gave way to the 1.4 TU, which was a more modern engine. Later there were turbo diesel engines. When it was launched, there was only naturally aspirated, which was relatively slow but very economical and very popular. In '87 they restyled the car, and on the outside it was basically the same, but the interior was now much more conventional. It lost the satellite controls, and now it had the stalks for the lights and for the wipers. It also had more storage. Now it had the speakers on the doors. It was looking a lot more modern on the inside. With this new restyling also came the launch of the 1.9 16-valve, and this new engine was good for 160 bhp. Since the car was so light, I think this version weighed around 1000 kilos. It was very quick, very free-revving engine, and it is still a real driver's car. 2 millions have been sold. In the end, it was replaced by two different cars. The Xantia, at the higher end of the market, which still retained the hydropneumatic suspension. It was also a bit larger. And the ZX, which had a conventional suspension and it was a bit shorter. This is a car that we don't see much nowadays. Most of them are gone. Citroën people always say that the GS is a more genuine Citroën, and I understand why they say that, and I agree. But the BX was actually the car that saved Citroën in the beginning of the 80s. They really had to prove their worth now that they had been bought by Peugeot. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and you enjoy this car as much as I do. And see you in the next video. Bye!